Hey everyone, today we'll be flying with Korean Air's business class from Seoul Gimpo Airport to Tokyo Haneda on their Airbus A330 featuring their Apex suites, which is marketed as Prestige Class. I got to the airport fairly early in the morning, so it wasn't very busy yet. Like usual, premium passengers get a dedicated check-in lane which avoids any long queues, as well as granting us lounge access. Since Gimpo is Seoul's secondary airport after Incheon, despite being closer to the city, it mainly serves domestic flights to Jeju and Busan, and only a few dozen flights to nearby international cities like Tokyo, Osaka, Taipei, and Beijing. The airport is the third busiest in South Korea and used to be the country's main international gateway until 2001 when Incheon opened its doors to passenger traffic. At Gimpo Airport, Korean Air operates their own KAL lounge. Although despite Gimpo Airport being one of their hub airports alongside Seoul Incheon, the lounge was frankly unimpressive to say the least. Admittedly, very few international flights depart out of Gimpo, but I don't think that excuses the mediocre food, the little space, and the limited sunlight. The lounge reminds me more of a priority pass lounge than a hub airport airline lounge. On top of that, the restrooms are questionably small, with the men's room only featuring 2 urinals and 1 sit-down toilet. By the way, if you're wondering exactly how much did I pay for this flight in a lie-flat business class seat, make sure to watch to the end of the video to find out. It's time to board today's A330, which can carry 24 passengers in business class and 248 in economy. Surprisingly, Korean Air's lackluster ground experience takes a pleasant turn once on board. This aircraft features Apex suites like those found on Japan Airlines. These seats can lie completely flat and are typically used on long-haul flights, which this flight is just over 2 hours long. Love it or hate it, Korean Air seats are in their iconic teal color, which I find brightens up the cabin all while being unmistakably Korean Air. The cabin, although not terribly outdated, does have obvious wear and tear. These Apex suites famously feature an erectable wall which completely separates the window seats from the aisle seats, allowing for total privacy despite the cabin being configured in 222. Even better, window seats get their own dedicated path to access the aisle, which makes them undoubtedly the best seats on the plane. Korean Air recently introduced their new business class seats dubbed the Prestige Suites 2.0 on their 787-10 and as of recording currently flies between Seoul Incheon and Tokyo Narita. The seat features a universal wall outlet as well as a reading light. The tray table comes out like this and can even rotate 90 degrees, allowing you to leave your seat while it's out. You can adjust the position of your seat and erect the passenger divider with the touch of these buttons. There's also a remote for the IFE, However, instead of featuring physical buttons for a D-pad, you are forced to use a digital D-pad on an irresponsive screen. The design of the seat does have some compromises. To allow for the vastly unobstructed legroom, the design pushes the screen too far away for you to actually use the touchscreen. Upon boarding, I was presented with a welcome drink and some packaged pretzels. The amenities presented on board were some slippers, some cheap-looking headphones, a blanket with the Korean Air logo stitched on it, as well as a plush pillow which isn't too firm nor too soft. At last, it's time for pushback 5 minutes ahead of schedule, which by the way was very much appreciated because we were racing Typhoon Ampel, which was forecasted to hit Tokyo the same day. As a result, most flights past noon landing in Haneda were cancelled, and even ANA's earlier scheduled flight for 7:40 was cancelled. Miraculously, despite the rough forecast, our flight went on ahead as scheduled. Let's settle back and relax and take a look at the menu. The wine list is pretty small, though for a 2-hour flight, that's to be expected. However, spirits and beers have a much larger selection. And for lunch, there's a Korean option and a Western option. I ordered the Korean option, which impressed me with its portion size and beautiful presentation. However, personally, I thought the taste left more to be desired, and in hindsight, I would have liked to try the roasted chicken with pesto sauce instead. I had a gin and tonic alongside my meal, and the small fruit bowl in the end was very fresh, especially the Shine Muscat grapes. They taste so much better than the regular grapes I get in North America since they're so sweet with 0 hints of bitterness. After the meal service, I checked out the lavatory, which was kept clean and had amenities like mouthwash and cologne. With only about an hour before we land in Tokyo, I wanted to check out the seat's lounging position and its lie flat mode. Forget about just this 2-hour regional-ish flight. Both would have been super comfortable on a 13-hour flight across the Pacific. Final takeaways for today's flight was that Korean Air had a very underwhelming ground experience with its disappointing lounge at Gimpo Airport, and its catering, although presented nicely, could improve in the taste department. But once on board, they were for the most part a top-class airline, and what impressed me most was actually the dynamic crew who were very smiley, polite, and attentive. I couldn't film this since I don't like filming cabin crew, but they were always diligent in picking up your rubbish, frequently asked if I needed anything, and not only personally welcomed you on board when you were seated, but even before landing, the crew once again personally greeted every business class passenger, their farewell, and thanked us for flying with them. This is a really nice touch since this gesture communicates that the airline really values you as a passenger, especially on this very competitive route connecting Seoul and Tokyo. This was my first time flying with Korean Air, and honestly, if their onboard experience is consistently like today's, then I look forward to flying with them again. If you're wondering how much I paid for this 2-hour flight in a lie flat bed, I actually redeemed Delta Sky Miles. Using the frequent flyer program allows you to not only book Delta flights, which are inferior in value, but also with SkyTeam alliance partners such as Korean Air. I was able to book this flight for just 15,000 miles and 28,000 Korean won, which converts to about $20 US. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and comment and subscribe. Also, look forward to my next video where I check out Korean Air's biggest competitor, Asiana Airlines.